All right, week 10 real estaters. We got Mersace on full time. My name is
Good morning. Good morning.
A couple quick announcements this week. Real quick. If you want to catch some real estate, some crawfish in Trinity Junction, show up at the Oak Creek Distribution Crawfish Boil for NAI, Robert Lynn, and Falcon Commercial Thursday, 3:30 to 5:30.
Oh.
Downbeats at 3:30.
Can we put the address somewhere on the internet?
Yeah, that's the one I'll save this for later, but that's what I hate about real estate this week.
Okay.
So. Then we have the NAIOP Spring Concert on April 23rd at the Rustic, so bring it on. Real quick on some vacancies, 3450 Bethlehem, 27,000 feet, 3.5 acres, call Todd Hubbard. J. Elmer Turner Freeway, 13,000 feet on 4 acres, call Cole Bruton or Caleb Howe at Mercer Company. And we've got some vacancies at Parkside. Leasing, call Jack Mercer. Sale, call Chase Miller. In Irving, if you got some small bay tenants. And then 15,500 square feet on 1.5 acres in San Antonio's Dividend Drive. So, economic calendar. This might start getting interesting. Jobless claims, 243,000. That's up. Well, last week was 242, but before that it was like 210. So
it's getting dicey.
Them federal employees filing for unemployment.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
20%.
Yeah. So getting a little interesting. We also have, so that comes out on Thursday. We have the U.S. trade deficit coming out on Thursday as well. Forecast is negative 100 billion. Previous was 98 billion. Negative 98 billion. And U.S. unemployment comes out on Friday. Forecast is 4.1. Previous was 4. So,
Jeff, because you guys do a lot of tenant rep and owner rep, are your agents giving you a lot of feedback on like what's going on with companies and employment and all that?
I haven't heard much change. It just feels like the status quo right now. The biggest narrative is, hey, I don't want to do anything because of the election, and that's turning to, hey, I don't want to do anything because I don't know what these tariffs are going to do. So that's the excuse of the week or the quarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most common thing I hear about activity.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Excuses.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I just did a 1-year renewal for a group because they were like, we don't know what the tariffs are going to do to our business. So.
Anecdotally, I heard steel packages for metal buildings are going up like 15 to 25%, but that's just anecdotally. I haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Make a little steel play. Buy some Nucor stock.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. debt. Let's see. Will, how many pounds we put on last week?
28 buh.
29 buh.
Oh my gosh.
But
it's
we
funny,
do have a caloric deficit going over here with the Doge clock. So I call this a win. The Doge eliminated $27 billion in fraud and waste last week. So it's only a net. We'll call it a net gain of two buh.
Yeah,
It's
good.
It is good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That was like my biggest thing with Trump getting in. I was like, hey, I want to see him work on the debt, and it's like, okay, here we go. This is some real results, real time. So. Let's look at the Dow. The Dow closed out at 43,840, gaining 254 points. S&P closed out at 5,954 points, down 81 points. NASDAQ closed out at 18,847, down 734 points. West Texas crude closed out at $70.12 a barrel, down 42 cents on the week. The 5-year and the 10-year came down last week. Let's see. The 5-year came down 23 basis points to 4.03. The 10-year came down to 4.24, down 18 basis points. SOFR is at 4.39. So
if you're a lender, put your floors in.
Don't tell them that. Why? Don't help those guys.
Because we're coming for you.
Stocks, top 3 performers last week. Real estate diversified, REIT residential, and REIT office led the way. And on the 1-month performance, REIT healthcare, REIT diversified, and REIT residential are winning. I don't have a term of the week.
Bro, what the? I was wondering.
I do. Jeremy, I do.
All right,
yes.
Okay. I'll bail you out here.
Thank you.
I'm going to call it, we call it the entrepreneur's dream.
Yeah. I know what this is.
Will, do you know what the...
I don't. I haven't. I think I have an idea, but expound.
Okay, so it's a warehouse, and the executive's office has its own private bathroom with shower. That way he can never leave work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call the entrepreneur's dream. And an available property I want to plug has said dream.
Oh,
is
listen up, entrepreneurs.
260 Gilbert.
Oh, that's right.
260 Gilbert. Built in 1984 by Robert Mercer.
Yep.
He promptly installed an entrepreneur's dream in that building after he moved off Anode Lane in a Wiley Brothers building.
That's right. That's where Mercer Metal started.
Excellent building.
How old were you? How old were you guys when he built it?
Oh, well,
I was 6.
I was 11 in 84.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is it? I'm sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you.
Sure. It's 17,700 feet on basically 5 acres.
And it's clear span.
Whoa.
And it's probably 28 on the sides and 30 something in the middle. I tell you what I'm thinking. Pickleball national championship court in there.
In Bear Creek.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's like an iOS wet dream right there, man.
Yeah, that is. That's
How's the activity been on it?
It's been really good. We had leases out. That deal kind of stalled, but activity's really good. The building is now vacant, and I think that's kind of been an issue because Encore was in there, and they had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
the entrepreneur's dream. Seen it so many times in buildings. But yes.
Don't we have one in Commerce Squared down in San Antonio? I can't remember.
I feel like we do.
The second floor.
Yeah.
Because we have a building, it's like 40,000 feet cross dock on 4 acres, Jeff. And the guy, he bought it from a meat processing group. And he spent a ton of money on there, and it looks great. Yeah. But the mezzanine, never really wanted. The mezz is all, a mezz office is all executives, and I'm pretty sure he's got like a Carrera deal going up.
Yeah, he has to have it. He's that kind of guy. Yeah. He had all of his powerlifting trophies everywhere.
Yes. I forgot about that.
So yeah, he's that's him. So
did he have a Cape Buffalo in there?
Not that I'm aware of. I've seen those.
I remember there was a building in Valwood where this guy had killed one of everything. And I was like, sir, there's nothing left. Where's the private room for the humans you've killed? Jeez. So, well, Jeff, what did you hate about real estate this past week?
I think what I hate about real estate is when you have a poorly written lease that you end up having conflict on, either this being a building you bought and inherited the lease, or maybe just a document, maybe a commission agreement. The poorly written legal things and the vaguity, if that's a word, of those things, I wish they could be settled much quicker. why can't there be like a judge or a law firm that just can give you a interpretation that both parties have to agree with? It just as an option. I know some things need to go to court, but I just feel like just on the commission agreement front, like active involvement. How many times have we had to navigate that silly term?
Right. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's
like
interpretation's different.
What if you try to...
and how has it existed so long? How have the agents just been like, yeah, okay, seems like a reasonable term?
I don't think many of them question it. They're so amped up to get that current deal signed, they don't really think about the future.
Yeah.
Jeremy, are you talking in reference to the landlord rep or the tenant rep? Be so amped up to get it done.
Either one.
Tenant.
Probably mostly tenant.
Tenant mainly.
Yeah, tenant mainly because the landlord rep party already has a listing agreement that they've made their bed with. What is active involvement? Like, what if I try to be actively involved? But everybody just pushes you out on purpose, and then your landlord scares your tenant into saying, "Hey, don't call him. I'm going to put the fee in you're going to pay for it." So
yeah, I just want landlords to know that if you burn us once, the next time I know how to make people never look at your buildings.
Yeah.
I have my ways where they'll never look at one of your vacancies again if you burn us.
Yeah.
So,
well, I do that with a certain institutional landlord that I don't like. I'm like, hey, these guys totally screwed my client over. Now, they might have the building you like, but I'm just forewarning you. There will be no soft touch with these guys.
Yeah.
So.
It's a pretty easy kill, too.
Oh, yeah.
You can kill a showing on that.
Oh, totally. If you even make it to the showing.
Right.
So, well, you know what I hated about real estate this week? It's kind of referring back to getting an address for this.
Yeah.
All these developers and these new industrial buildings, I had a deal. They all call them like Center Creek 1, Center Creek 4. And I'm like, well, what's the effing address?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I have the address? Don't tell me the building name. all people think about the building name all day long because you're just having leasing calls every 30 minutes about it. And it's, it's just like this Oak Creek distribution deal. I'm like, I don't know the address. I know it's Oak Creek. I was working on a deal for a client this past week, and he had to move him to a vacancy for trailer parking because they needed to work on the trailer lot that he's in. And, institutional people sending emails back and forth to other institutional people that I'm copied on. And they're like, can you go to Oak Creek 4? And I'm like, how do I tell my client where Oak Creek 4 is or whatever this is?
Where are you?
I go, can someone just draw a diagram? Like make a map or maybe an address?
Yeah, that's what we had to do in Oklahoma with that group of buildings we bought. They had 10 buildings on this property, and if you looked at them, it was like 1, 6, 8, 9, 4, 3, and I was like, why are these so horribly out of order?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do people do that? Like you'll have suite 101, then it'll jump to 106 right next to it. And you're like, what happened to the other 4 or 5?
I don't know. Yeah, it gets messy. I think it's probably because they do one deal and then they do other deals and then they consolidate the deals. And
yeah, I think that's probably why.
But it can get really sloppy.
Addresses, please. That's what I'd like. So, okay, let's hit some news up real quick. Something I thought was kind of interesting. Back to the Doge, they're cutting these office leases, and I haven't worked a governmental office lease in a while, but I know I've worked one before. And Jeff, we did that one with the Red Cross back in the day. And but I feel like someone was saying in here, well, this might not be as good as what everybody says, and because they can't just terminate a lease. But I kind of feel like a governmental entity, and every time I've seen an investment offering has had a termination option for the government. So Do you remember seeing any of those things, Jeff, in governmental type leases?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe that is pretty standard fare for those, at least on the ask.
Yeah.
When they first come out of the lease.
So Doge, led by Elon, has claimed victories of 254 terminations worth $114 million in annual lease savings and a total of $255 million cut. So let's see. They're talking about, previous downsizing attempts, including Trump's first term, ran into resistance from Congress, unions, and local economies relying on government jobs. Restructuring federal agencies is as simple as signing an order. Eliminating departments or relocating them requires extensive illegal logistical maneuvering. In Chicago, where Trump and Musk aimed to cut the federal footprint by 50%, the effort faces a brick wall of security constraints and market challenges. So it says, take the John Klaczynski and Ralph Metcalf buildings, 2 federal properties in Chicago's Central Business District. They sit next to a federal courthouse, making security a major issue. Developers aren't exactly lined up to take the buildings that could come with restrictions and slightless into court facilities. Even if sold, repurposing these properties could be a multi-year endeavor requiring deep pockets and patience. So I guess it says right here, there's the matter of lease terminations. Many government leases have firm terms, meaning that they can't simply be abandoned without financial consequences. Breaking them prematurely could lead to expensive lawsuits or settlement negotiations, reducing the very savings Musk and Trump are promising. So back to the point, though, I feel like all these government leases have a built-in termination option. I mean, I'm sure they immediately went to those leases first and said, line up the termination options. So,
well, I think the other component is most of those leases are super long with fixed renewals.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably very under market on their rent. So the landlords are probably going to be happy to get out of a lot of those. Now, I know if you got 50 stories of IRS workers in Des Moines, Iowa, you might not want to give up on that lease.
Yeah.
But I would think in a lot of cases, the landlord's going to be happy to cut a deal and terminate, even if there is no written option.
Yeah.
I feel like every post office deal I've ever looked at, the rent is like 30 to 80% below market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always horrible.
So anyways, that's kind of interesting but it'd be interesting to see how much footprint they cut in the government lease portfolio.
Yeah.
Because not really needed. So, all right. Next piece of news. Here's our favorite family, Jeff. We'll do a little touch here, but Jeff and I are going to do a deep dive. Irving talks zoning changes for Mavs owners. Change would allow the Allisons to build arena and casino if state okays gambling. A proposed zoning amendment in Irving could lead to a new home for the Dallas Mavericks and lay the groundwork for the casinos in case Texas ever legalizes gambling. City officials discussed potential zoning changes February 27th work session for a 182-acre tract in the site of the former Texas Stadium. Proposed amendments would allow for a mixed-use development. The property in question is owned by Las Vegas Sands, a casino and resort company that bought Mark Cuban's majority stake in the Mavericks at the end of 2023, and entity affiliated with Las Vegas Sands bought 8 properties in the State Highway 114 and Loop 12 in 2023, and the property spans 259 acres. So let's see. The lease for the American Airlines Center expires in 2031. So, God, it's kind of hard to think the American Airlines Center might be obsolete in 2031. I don't know if the stars go with them too. So,
who owns American Airlines? Is it the city?
That's a good question.
Because for a bit, I thought Cuban did, but I think it was like a private-public deal. I don't want to sidetrack us too hard, but I feel like
I don't know.
The city of Dallas might own it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's owned by the city of Dallas.
That's how they got it passed to build on top of a lead smelter 25 years ago.
Oh, this benefits us? All right, permit approved.
All good.
Yeah. So,
Right.
anyways, that is up for
Right.
zoning talks. So, what they're
Yeah.
saying here, let's see.
It was bonus.
The company dumped millions into lobbying to legalize gambling, and the Texas 2023 legislative session is renewing its effort this year. Governor Greg Abbott said he wouldn't have a problem with legalizing sports betting, but Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, however, has been staunch in his opposition. So I don't know what this means. It says Irving is interested in creating a planned unit development at the site. I don't know what a planned unit development is, which would give the landowner flexibility in the development. I guess it's some kind of zoning overlay. If the project moves forward, the city would require at least 4 million gross square feet, excluding parking, and 17,500 hotel rooms.
17,000?
I'm sorry, 1,750.
Oh, I was about to say, holy shit, dude.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, anyways, deep dive episode coming up. Will, you got some
more development up by Jeremy, your neck of the woods.
Oh.
These things are actually kind of across from each other. So it looks like a development called Cannon Beach is a proposed mixed-use development that could have a hotel, retail space in Surf Park Lagoon in McKinney. It's $200 million. It's secured funding for the infrastructure development. The McKinney Community Development Corp approved $4 million in funding for infrastructure for Cannon Beach. The 35-acre development is set to feature a 4-acre surf lagoon, a 150-room resort-style hotel, and more than 100,000 square feet of retail and office. Project will be located on the northeast corner of Stacy Road and State Highway 121. And then looks like it's kind of public and private. City of McKinney's getting in on it. McKinney Economic Development Corp., McKinney CDC, and the developer is Cole Cannon, who did something similar in Mesa, Arizona.
Huh.
So you can go there and get like surf lessons for $75 up to $150 an hour.
Huh.
So pretty cool.
I guess if you're going to surf there, because there's nowhere else near except for Galveston.
Yeah. Yeah. You just get you can get a floater on your head while you're coming up for air.
I think I'd rather go to the McKinney Beach over Galveston Beach.
I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah.
I remember
Pretty rough down there.
I went to Galveston one time when Tammany and I first started dating. She goes, "Oh, let's go to Galveston." We got in the water, and I was like, "I'm good."
I've never been. I've just heard it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not great. No. So,
and
How's
then
the Jersey Shore? Is that fun to get in that water? Or
Yeah.
what?
yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay.
It's actually really nice. Yeah. It depends on where you're at. I think it's all circumstantial. But in Spring Lake, where we go, it's kind of like, it's a little more hoity-toity.
it's the Rosemary Beach of the Jersey Shore.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The New York Times wrote a piece on it. I think it's the Times. Why go to the Hamptons when you can go to Spring Lake? So it's pretty
Because
nice.
you can go to the Hamptons.
Well, the Hamptons is just like stupid expensive, but you can just grab the train and leave Manhattan and be at Spring Lake in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's half the price, but that's where I got married. It's a pretty good place. Second one is literally on the other side of the highway off of 121 and Stacy Road. This developer sets the stage for a $1 billion water park resort in Allen. More water. City of Allen recently approved a lease agreement and incentives package for the $1 billion water park resort, setting the stage for Kalahari Resorts and Conventions to make its debut in North Texas. Wisconsin-based Kalahari Development is proposing 1.2 million square foot facility with 900 hotel rooms, an indoor and outdoor water park, a convention center, and a family entertainment center. Following City Council's unanimous approval on February 25th, the project is expected to move into design and planning phase. So this is interesting. They're leasing to the company for 21 years the land, which I think is an interesting structure.
They're leasing the land. The city is leasing?
The city is, yeah. And then they have a purchase option for $43 million that they can exercise sometime within the first 21 years. Then the convention center that they're building on an adjacent site, they have a 75-year lease. And for the first 21 years, it's $1 a year.
Huh. That's kind of interesting. I don't know why the cities would, I don't know why they just don't contribute it, but I guess keeps the tax basis down on it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's mentions of that too. Between the two, it's like roughly about $500 million in tax revenue over the first 40 years.
Wow.
We've seen those two projects.
Those are about the only, Jeff, isn't it funny how a lot of the owner user entrepreneurs are like, hey, let's see if the city will give us any tax incentives. And it's like, unless you're doing something like this, you ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
So,
well, we got Ryan Menace just did a deal. I'm pretty sure it was McKinney.
He got some money.
And they got money. And I was shocked because it was only a 30,000 foot deal.
Oh, that's good. It's pretty good.
So maybe the tides have turned a little bit on that. But yes, you're right. For the most part, you get nothing at that level.
Yeah.
You have to be a Pepsi or something.
Sure.
Or move to a small town.
Right. Small town will give it to you. They'll they'll have the high school marching band out for you when you open your door.
Oh my God.
Ribbon cutting ceremony.
Oh yeah. We used to give every job you created in Graham, we'd give you a $2,000 check.
Really?
For a job. Good. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's kind of material.
Yeah, that could get real. Some real money.
That's it.
Well, that's all we got for this week, Jeff. Anything else?
Okay. No.
All right.
Have a great spring break.
All right. See you later, Florida man.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.